We usually think of clear thinking as this cold, hard, logical thing, right? But what if the real secret to being intellectually honest isn't about being detached at all? What if it's the total opposite? Today, we're diving into a really powerful idea from Ada Fitch that the courage to be vulnerable is actually the foundation for a clear, honest mind. So let's just jump right in with a question for you. And really take a second to think about this. What parts of yourself have you had to hide? Just to get by, just to survive? And we're not always talking about some big, dramatic secret. A lot of the time, it's the subtle stuff, right? The quiet sacrifices, the times you bit your tongue, the parts of you that just went silent, all to keep the peace. So to really get this connection between being vulnerable and thinking clearly, we're going to look at a pretty personal story from Ada herself. It's an amazing case study in how we build up this armor to protect ourselves, and what that armor really ends up costing us. So what exactly did Ada hide? This, the part of her that has a deep, fundamental need for consistency and reassurance. And why hide that? Well, because life taught her pretty early on that those things just aren't always guaranteed. So, as a way to survive, that need got pushed down, buried deep. Now, when you hide a core piece of who you are, you have to invent something else to show the world. You have to put on a mask. For Ada, that meant taking on a very specific and honestly a very demanding role. On the outside, she became the rock, the calm in the storm for everyone else. She learned how to smile through exhaustion, to carry all that weight without ever letting it show. But on the inside, that was a whole different story. Her own storm was still raging. It's a performance, really. And a performance like that takes a ton of energy. And that constant performance, it leads to one thing: pure exhaustion. As she puts it right here, there's a part of her that is just so tired of being the steady one, a part that just wants to lean on someone else, to rest in their steadiness, just for once. But here is the thing about this self-protection, this whole act of hiding. It isn't a free ride. It comes with some serious consequences that go way beyond just feeling tired. It creates a whole different kind of danger. And her reasoning for putting up that wall, it makes perfect sense. She felt that the world, well, it doesn't always reward softness. To show that vulnerable side felt way too exposed. She was worried that if people saw that she needed to be taken care of too, she'd lose their respect. And this is the crucial turning point, the big aha moment. It's the realization that her entire strategy for protecting herself just wasn't working. Hiding her depth didn't actually protect her. It just isolated her. The armor she'd built had become a cage. Okay, so this is where her personal journey connects directly to the kind of rigorous, critical thinking that she is all about. The process of unhiding herself turns out to be the exact same process you need to build an internal framework, an architecture for seeing the world truly and clearly. She calls this skill disciplined independence. And no, it's not about just disagreeing with everyone for the sake of it. It's about self-governance. It's having the ability to hit a pause button between a feeling you have and how you react to it. In that tiny little space, that's where reason can actually kick in and fight back against all those unseen biases that love to run on autopilot. So, how do you build this? Well, she kind of lays out the blueprints for us. This entire architecture is built on 3 main pillars that all have to work together: emotional regulation, logical integrity, and intellectual humility. And that first one, emotional regulation, man, that is the absolute bedrock. It's everything. And it connects right back to her personal story, right? It's the skill you need to manage that internal storm. You simply cannot analyze the world with any clarity if you haven't first faced your own internal world with honesty. The other 2 pillars get built right on top of that foundation. Logical integrity is about having the guts to apply the same tough logic to your own beliefs that you do to everyone else's. And intellectual humility? It's the simple but incredibly powerful ability to say, hey, you know what? I might be wrong about this. That's the only way we ever actually learn anything. And here is the big payoff. All this tough internal work, it's not just for self-help. It's the fuel for genuine intellectual curiosity. When you're not constantly defending some hidden, vulnerable part of yourself, you can look at these huge, complex topics like germ versus train theory or statism versus voluntarism with way less bias and way more humility. The road to objective truth actually starts with subjective honesty.
All right, so we've followed Ada's journey all the way from hidden vulnerability to building this whole framework for clear thinking. Now, it's time to bring it all back home to your own inner world.
If there's one crucial thing to take away from all of this, it's this. True intellectual rigor isn't some detached academic game. It is an act of courage. It's built on the kind of deep self-awareness that you can only get by being brave enough to look at the parts of yourself you've been hiding. Which leaves us with one final question for you to take with you. When it's just you and no one else is watching, what's really governing your thinking? Is it those old survival strategies and automatic biases? Or is it an internal framework that you yourself have deliberately and honestly built?